Just how the guys looking, I guess, now about a week or so into practice.
Well, we got a long way to go, so it's good we've got some time left before we have to line up and play in a game. But we got a lot of guys that are enjoying learning, and we've got a lot of guys that are playing much better than they did in the spring. But overall, just still a lot of improvement needed.
Talk about one of the guys that's making a position change from the spring. Jermaine Whitehead, he's still developing well at safety.
Yeah, he's done a real good job at safety, and you know, he was there. We moved him there in the spring, and very smart player. So he's still learning. There's a lot of tools left for him to grab hold of and be able to execute. But he's one of those guys that really enjoys learning new tools and learning the game. So he's doing a good job.
What you guys focus on today? First day, full pads.
My overall?
What you guys focus on today in practice? First day in full pads.
Well, we had a lot going on. We had a lot of different situations. Did some just zone pressure work today, even in a skelly. So 50 install well. But we try to hit a number of different situations each practice, trying to get the guys into situational football. And so today just a number of things. Openers was our lead today. Again, but again, we touched a lot of bases.
Brian, it's been said that you've been rather intense the first 5 days, particularly with the linebackers. Could you just talk about that? And I mean, do you feel some urgency with those guys in particular?
I do. I think that position right now for us, there's a sense of urgency to get that settled in and get some consistency there. So we're on it, and we'll get it straightened out. But linebacker in our system, it takes a lot of work. Those guys, we put a lot on them in terms of communications and a lot of responsibility associated with different concepts that we use. So their plate's full, and but they've got a lot of work ahead, and we just got to keep working towards it and have them work with us to get better.
Did you kind of make a conscious decision that you're going to be louder and kind of more intense?
It's different now in spring ball. Training camp's different in spring ball. So, we're some 24 practices away from playing our first game. So, sense of urgency in training camp to me is different than in spring.
Up front, how is D Ford? Is he kind of carried over from where he left off in the spring? Because I know he was a guy that really kind of went up the depth chart some in the spring.
I think he's still kind of greasing up his game. He hasn't looked quite as sharp as he did at the end of spring ball, but there's been obvious flashes of the same thing from him here in the first 5 days.
What have you seen out of Nosa and Kenneth Carter? And he really gave right to you. Didn't get a chance to see him much in spring, but those three guys in particular up front, you get a chance to see them.
They're a little bit behind, but I really like Nosa's attitude. Early on he had a bad practice, came right back. So I think he'll be a player of high character, which means good consistency for us. And Kenny's done a good job. He's a bigger player up inside, so should help us. So, but those guys, they're behind, but they're good workers and should establish a role on our defense.
What's your sense of the depth chart at linebacker? Is that kind of stabilizing right now?
No.
Wide open?
Wide open. Yeah, wide open right now.
What are you looking for guys to step up and earn a starting job, and what do they got to do to prove to you?
Well, I think overall, we've got to gain a consistency just in our knowledge overall of the system from the linebacker position. And again, of all the positions, the linebackers and the safeties in our system, it's most difficult. And linebackers being up in the front seven, there's a lot more to what they've got to do in terms of proper alignment and coverage leverages and things right now that we're struggling with.
You talked in spring about Jeff Whitaker. He did things you weren't sure he could do. Has he picked up where he left off?
Yeah, Jeff's one of those consistent players. There's never any doubt about his commitment to, improving and getting better. So, you get a high character player like him. He's got a solid role for us.
Just looking at your new guys, your freshmen who had their first week of practice, how are those guys coming along?
The typical freshman, 5 days in, a lot of installs thrown at them, so they're swimming, and that's the hard thing at this time of year. Every single day they're getting a new install, And it happens through training camp, and then you get to the first game and you're not doing this, you get it, kind of zeroed down, and it becomes a little bit different picture for them. But right now it's hard. It's hard for the young guys.
Realistically, where can you hope to be the first game?
You
Just
need
in
it.
terms of,
Hopefully we're at the Georgia Dome.
In terms of where you want to go with your defense?
Oh, I don't think, obviously, the picture that I have of the process that we're going through, I would expect that we would improve through the season. And, first games, there's going to be some issues, and how our guys hold up and play through some of those ebbs and flows of that ball game is going to be really critical in establishing that, ability to keep improving through the year. So I think that first game will be a lot in terms of establishing, from our standpoint, our effort, our focus, and the things that are going to equal winning in that game, and in terms of the musts that we'll carry into it. So we should get better. We should get better. That's the expectation through the year.
Talk about Mac being out there and how he's been.
He's the best looking player out there right now. Right now, I keep talking to our coaches. I don't know if he's getting a fair deal right now. No, it's really does me really good. Growing up he's grown up with his dad in a profession where he's been gone a lot, and to have him here is really outstanding for our family, all of us. Been enjoyable.
You have another son, right? Don't you plays football? Or do you have any?
No, my oldest walked out of Georgia, and then he hurt his knee. After his freshman year, they went to the Sugar Bowl when they beat Hawaii, and then in the spring ball, he tore his knee for the second time, and he was done.
Coach, Javier Mitchell had to sit out spring. How's he look so far in the fall?
Lost. He looks lost. Yeah, he looks lost. Yeah. Way behind right now. Great attitude though, good and smart. Good learner. He's just way behind.
How hard would it be? You said all the jobs were open at linebacker. How hard would it be for a freshman to jump up there, and a true freshman to jump up there and play a lot early?
Well, I guess if a freshman has if we're going to live with some errors at that position from all the competitors, then the decision will come down to production. So right now we have a group of linebackers that their numbers in the mental error category are not good. So when you have that, then you really have to make a decision based on who's at least going to be productive. So if a freshman has enough confidence and enough poise to play in a situation like the first game, then he's got every chance to start and or play a lot of reps.
Have you been to that end? Have you been impressed with what Casanova's been able to do?
I have a lot on his plate, but the one thing I think that is apparent with him is that he does have some production ability. He's a bigger player that can run, and he has a very, very good attitude in respects to getting to the ball. So.
Anything else? All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Good seeing y'all.